Ciao, I'm Mario, a Swiss car guy on YouTube, and today I'm driving my 2008 Lexus LS600h. A car I love, but I recently made a video of 34 things I hate about this car. And wouldn't you know, the day I posted the video, I found number 35, the 35th thing I hate about this car, and it has to do with tire pressure monitoring system, TPMS. Oh goody! Because this car is now giving me a TPMS warning, and it says check tire pressure system. And when the car does this, when the car has a problem with the TPMS, it doesn't give you any readings anymore. So it's possible that it's just confused about a single wheel, and the other four wheels are perfectly fine, but it will not give you any more information about tire pressures on the wheels. I reckon it must be some sort of a fail-safe mode. But that means that now I have this big yellow exclamation mark driving around that illuminates my face at night and almost burns out my eyes. Okay, that's a bit over the top, but it is annoying me. And the reason I got this TPMS warning, I sort of want to blame the car, but I reckon it might be my fault. Because you see, I have TPMS sensor in this car, obviously, in both sets of wheels that I have, because this car has summer wheels and winter wheels, and 2 weeks ago I swapped over to the winter wheels, ready for the 20 degrees that we have now at the end of October. The thing with the LS600h is that apparently it can only store one set of sensor IDs, so it can store 5 sensor IDs and it cannot store more. This is the consensus in the forums, but I am not so sure. But anyway, that means that my summer wheels and my winter wheels have the same IDs. So each wheel is cloned. It exists once as a summer wheel and once as a winter wheel. However, 2 years ago, I bought new summer tires. And I didn't just buy 4 new tires, I bought 5 new tires, because I figured that, you know, after a decade or so, the spare wheel wouldn't be in a great shape, so I bought a new tire for the spare wheel as well. And then this year I decided to take the spare wheel into rotation. So with the summer tires, I put one of the tires I had used last year in the trunk and put the spare wheel back on the corner of the car and use it so that the spare wheel gets worn down. And I think this is good practice to do, because personally, I cringe at the idea of throwing away a never used spare wheel. Even though I had a flat a couple of months ago, so it wouldn't have been unused. But anyway, my summer spare wheel is in the rotation. And when about 2 weeks ago I switched over to my very beautiful and top quality winter wheels, I kind of forgot that the original spare wheel was somewhere at the corner of the car, which means that the wheel I have in the trunk is not the original spare wheel. And therefore, if I put on my winter wheels on the car, one of these wheels will have the same ID as the spare wheel. And this is what is throwing off the car, because it senses 2 wheels with the same ID. And this cannot be, therefore it doesn't allow you to get any more information about your tire pressure. And yes, so what are my options now? I have considered just taking the spare wheel out of the trunk. That I reckon might make the error message go away, but then again I don't want to drive around without a spare wheel, because as I mentioned a couple of months ago, I had a flat and I needed a spare wheel, so I kind of like having a spare wheel with me. Then I thought I could recode all the wheel sensors and program them to the car, because I have a Autel MaxiTPMS programmer, so I could actually do that. But then when I switch back to summer tires, what do I do then? Do I have to code and reprogram the wheels every time? That doesn't seem like a good idea. So what I am going to do is kind of the obvious thing. I will find my original spare wheel and put that in the trunk instead of the one I have now. That way the car is happy again, all the IDs are unique, and I have a spare wheel. And yes, I understand, I should have thought about it before, but it was the first year I put the spare wheel into rotation, so I only realized after I had already left my mom's place, because this is where I keep my wheels. And at first when I left there, I just had the normal messages like checking sensors, where it was just, it usually takes a couple of minutes when you swap wheels or tires to recognize all the sensors and the pressures. And it wasn't until I was already on the motorway that it basically gave me the check tire pressure system and wouldn't give me any more information. And I was a bit stumped on what it could be. And it wasn't until I took my MaxiTPMS, which is a TPMS diagnostic reader, and actually I scanned the wheels to realize that I have the same ID, I think on the back left and on the spare wheel. So I have to now go to my mom's place, find the correct spare wheel and put that in the trunk, and that will solve all my problems. But I am a bit annoyed that if I didn't have the diagnostic reader for the tire pressure monitoring system, I wouldn't know what the issue is. So, I mean, the car could actually tell you, it could tell you it has a duplicated ID, but the others should be fine. But I think it just defaults to, oh my God, this is an unplausible error. I cannot trust any of the information I give. So it just shuts down basically and gives you this big warning sign. And yeah, I mean, sure, whatever. But I want to take this opportunity to rant a bit on tire pressure monitoring system, which in theory is a really good thing in a car. But in practice, I don't really know what it's good for. Sure, I reckon it's good that you always see your tire pressures and don't have to connect, you know, a reader to the valve. That's nice, but in case of a flat, in case of a sudden loss of pressure, I found that tire pressure monitoring systems usually do not really help, because even when I had my flat in the summer, I noticed that way before the TPMS gave me any warning, and the TPMS actually didn't give me a warning after I had already stopped, checked, and realized that I couldn't fix it. So, I mean, this is not really helpful. I guess it's good if you have like a slow leak or something like this over time, that it will warn you and tell you, hey, look, your tire pressures are low. And I guess it's also good for keeping your tire pressures like in the optimal region, so that your tires wear evenly and that you maximize your grip, which is something you need on a sporty car such as this barge. But all in all, I find that tire pressure monitoring systems, the systems with the sensors in the wheels, they are more trouble than they are worth it. And hence I have a diagnostic scanner for the tire pressure monitoring system, because when I bought this car, I had a warning because it had a sensor that the previous owner had put on in the garage, but they hadn't programmed it, so it was just a blank sensor. And I've also had a bit of trouble with the sensors in my GTR at the time, so I bought a kit with the diagnostic reader and programmer and about, I think, eight sensors, and it was like 250 bucks or something like that. So it was great value, and the Autel sensors are actually what is installed now in this car, and I had also installed in the GTR, because these sensors, they work well, they are cheap, they are universal, and I can diagnose and program them myself if needed. Anyway, so I have the diagnostic scanner, and so I can actually troubleshoot problems when they occur. But to the normal person is like, yeah, go to the dealer, spend some money, which I think is dumb, especially in a case like this where it's a plain dumb user error. These cars are full of computers, they're full of intelligence, even though this car is really old. But I think the errors could be a bit more differentiated. So give a bit more information to the user and not refer to the garage for everything. Okay, now this is kind of funny because I backed into the garage and it recognizes the correct tire. So it doesn't show the error anymore. I mean, great. Now I just have to find the correct tire to put in the back. One wheel out of the way. And now I have to find the correct wheel. And for that I'm using this, which is the Autel MaxiTPMS TS501, a tire pressure monitoring system, diagnostic and programming interface. Okay, so I have a screen which is completely out of focus, which shows me all the IDs it detected. So if I find the wheel in the stack here that does not have one of these IDs, I should be good. Now let's do the rear right tire, which is this one. Okay, so this is done. So now I can start trying the spare wheels. It's having some trouble reading it or making heads or tails of it because it probably thinks it's a duplicate. Duplicate, so this is not the right wheel. Great. Duplicate. Okay, so this was the correct wheel. So this is my new spare because it registered. Great. So now let's put this in the car. I needed to get this off, otherwise it wouldn't screw in. Okay, let's go for a drive and see if this fixed the issue. .7 bar. I need to leave. Oh, right now it looks good, but I'm still too close to the other wheels. I need to get further away. Okay, let's see. Oh, this looks good. It has checked all the 5 wheels and it's showing me pressure, which is a bit all over the place, to be honest, from 2.2 to 2.6, which is too much of a spread, but still, this looks like a success. Hooray! Finally, I got rid of that exclamation mark, so the tire pressure is good. Awesome. And the correct procedure is you get your tire pressure monitoring diagnostic tool and then you sequentially scan the wheels until you find one that isn't a duplicate. That's it. It was actually way easier than I made it out. But so far, this is good. And now it starts showing weird values again because it senses the wheels that are on the other side of this wall. Yeah, this is why it gives me an exclamation mark, but I'm pretty sure it's all good now. So that's it. I managed to fix this basic user error problem using only semi-professional tools. That's the way you have to do it, thanks to TPMS. So yes, while I previously managed to make a video with 34 things that annoy me about this car, now I make one entire video about this single thing. But I mean, what am I supposed to do? I cannot put it in the existing video, so I had to make a separate video. But I think I talked enough about it. I talked enough about TPMS and whether it's useful or not. What is your opinion? Do you think TPMS is a worthwhile addition to cars, or is it one more thing that can break and annoy you? Please comment down below. As usual, I like to interact with you in the comments. And this, as you can imagine from my interaction reminder, is the end of the video, because I've babbled on quite long about this really basic thing. And if you want to see more of this car and possibly others, subscribe to my channel, leave a like if you for some reason like this video. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see slightly more frequent updates. And when I say updates, I mean whatever I just want to post, because it's basically almost never anything about this car or of the cars I make videos about. Go figure. But anyway, it's at Swiss Car Guy Mario. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.